Hey everyone. Ran into another odd issue on my laptop that I thought I'd make a video on since I finally figured out how to fix it. So what I noticed was that after I'd watch a video or listen to some music or something that was using audio, I would get, after a few seconds, this popping sound and then a really nasty whining sound that sounded a lot like coil whine, if you've ever heard that. So just a high pitched, and it wasn't painful or anything, but it was just really annoying. And this is obviously when using headphones, and I would wear earbuds, so this would happen. It'd stop the music, and it would just keep happening over and over. And so I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with my system. But I went and did some research and was able to find that power saving, either using TLP or the kernel power saving mode, could cause this problem because it's setting the sound card to a low power or a power off state. And depending on your system, this is the behavior you could experience. So the fix for TLP, if that's what you're using, and you can tell if you're using it in a couple of different ways. One of the easiest ways, since you already need to check this anyway, is to just see if under Etsy default, if there's a TLP file, which there is here. So we want to edit that file. And we want to look for power. So it's in caps. Power save. And here we see sound power save on AC, sound power save on battery. So in this case, the way this is set, if it was on AC power, if it was plugged in, it wouldn't go into power save and you wouldn't have this issue. So if you're only getting it when you're on battery power and you're using TLP, this could be why. Now this is Ubuntu 18.10, and this is the default setting on here. So I don't want this to happen in either case. Your choice here is either you can set it to 0, which means it's just disabled completely, or you can set it to 1 or greater. And 1 or greater would be the number of seconds before it goes into this low power state. So if you are like me and you're wearing an earbud or you have your headphones and you're leaving them on, and after, again, in this case, 1 second, it would start making that sound for me. If you wanted, you could set this to something longer, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever. But if you're like me, you might keep that in longer, and after that period, it's still going to happen. So I just disable it completely. I don't think it really saves all that much battery. I mean, I'm sure if you're trying to eke out every minute of your battery, you might want to leave this on. But in my case, it really wasn't helping me. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this. And it should take right away, but if you had to, you could restart TLP just with systemctl restart TLP.service. And that should take care of that on TLP. Now, the other thing that could be causing it is the kernel power saving mode. And this depends on the kernel you have and also the hardware you have and whether it supports power save. For instance, if you were to look at, let's say, a VirtualBox install and try to find the power save setting for the virtual device, it wouldn't have one because it doesn't support that. But in my case, I've got an Intel card in here, and you can check that using inksy-a. If you don't have inksy installed, it should be in the repo. So sound HDA Intel, right? And that's what I'm looking for. So if I go and I look in sys module, I'm going to see a sys or sound HDA Intel. And then in the parameters section, if I have a power save option, it'll show up there under an ls command. So we can cat the value of that parameter to see if it's set to either 0 or some number greater than 0. That number indicates the number of seconds it should wait. Basically the same thing TLP is like. It's the number of seconds it should wait, 1 or more seconds. So we can cat sys module snd HDA Intel parameters power. So in this case, it's set to 1, which means that after 1 second, it would go into a power save mode. They actually recommend that you don't set it to 1. If you did want this to go into power save, they actually recommend that it goes into like 10 because some devices will stop accessing the sound card, but then, or some applications will stop accessing the sound card, but then want to access it again within a number of, quick succession, another second, another 2 seconds. And so you'd essentially be powering up, powering down, powering up, powering down. So the minimum they suggest is 10 seconds. But if, like me, you want to just disable it. So a bit of a break in continuity here. I'm recording this after I created the initial video. Someone in the Big Daddy Linux group, Eris, pointed out that the way I described to correct this issue didn't last after boot. So I went looking for a way to get it to be permanent. In the meantime, they found a better solution than what I was pursuing. So thanks to Eris, I have a great way to correct this issue. Very straightforward and clean. Before I cut in with this piece, I'd shown you how to check using cat this power save parameter. So the way I was going to approach this was to pass this parameter at boot time through the bootloader. So in the grub kernel command line, you can put kernel parameters, and that would have worked, but it's a little clunkier than the solution that Eris provided. So I'm going to go ahead and approach it from that perspective. The way they approached it was creating a file in etc modprobd called idleaudio.conf. So I've done that. So let's go ahead and take a look at that file. Okay, and as described, you're essentially passing the optional parameter to the SND-HDA Intel module to set power save to 0. So when your system boots, it will read this file and set that parameter for you, and thereby setting the power save to 0, which is off. Thanks again to Eris for a great solution. Hopefully this will help you fix this issue. So that's my fix for either TLP or the kernel power saving mode issue with popping and whining in Linux. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll do my best to help you. And if not, I will see you in the next video.